Hello, I'm Jazz the RBT, and I give upcoming RBTs different tips and tricks on how to pass the exam and life after the exam. This video will consist of all things ABA measurements. Please join me on the road to a BCBA, and please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to this video so I can post more videos about ABA to help you guys pass the exam and be successful after you pass the exam. And without further ado, let's get right into the video. Measurements in ABA are used to collect data on certain skills or behavior. If done correctly, measurements can be very effective and accurate to assessing a certain behavior or skill. The measurements in ABA that I will address today are discontinuous measurements and continuous measurements. First, we will talk about continuous measurements and when to use them, and then we will talk about discontinuous measurements and when to use them. Some equipment that you might need are a clicker and a timer. The first measurement system I will talk about are continuous measurements. Continuous measurements measure any instance of a behavior that occurred during the session. The first continuous measurement is frequency. Frequency in ABA can be defined as the count of a behavior divided by the time of which the behavior occurred. Example of frequency would be keeping count of how many times your client tapped their hand during your session. Here's an example of frequency, and I will also use my clicker to make sure data is accurate. The behavior we will be watching for frequency is tapping on the table. And that is frequency. The next continuous measurement is duration. Duration is the total extent of time of which a behavior occurs, or how long does your client engage in that behavior. So for example, we will use duration for tantrum or not sitting in a chair. The behavior we will be observing for duration is writing in a book. How long did I write in the book? From the time I start to write, the timer will start. Go. So the timer has 7 seconds left. So that means I drew in the book for 13 seconds. And that is what duration is. How long? Those are just a few examples. That is continuous measurement duration. The next continuous measurement is latency. Latency is the elapsed time from the onset of a stimulus to the initiation of the response. So for example, if the doorbell rings, how long did it take you to get up to answer the doorbell? The time between the doorbell ringing and standing up to answer the doorbell is what latency measures. Latency is best used when a demand is placed. So for example, I will be using my water bottle. I will place the demand to lift the cap off the water bottle. Once the demand is placed, the time it takes for top to come off, latency measures. Take top off the water. So the length of time of taking the top off the water from the demand of take the top off the water is what latency measures. These are really good for keeping signs of aggression or keeping signs of SIB during your session. And you can just be clicking, clicking, clicking. And then as soon as you get done with your session, you have time to go back to add this data to your session notes, and it'll be very accurate because you had this right in your hand your entire session. So now that we're all done with continuous measurements and their effectiveness in your session, we will get on to discontinuous measurements. Discontinuous measurements are a time sampling measurement that does not collect every instance of a behavior. Discontinuous measurements can overestimate a behavior or they can underestimate a behavior. So that is why they are less effective than continuous measurements. The first discontinuous measurement is partial interval, when the behavior occurs at all during a certain time frame. So for example, hitting or swearing within 5 minutes. So for the sake of this video, I will set a 5-second timer and we will count how many times did I hit my shoulder during the 5 seconds. This continuous partial interval starts now. All right, so I hit my shoulder 2 times within 5 seconds. The next discontinuous measurement is whole interval. Whole interval is the behavior that occurs during the entire interval. For example, walking or running. Here's an example of whole interval. It's a 5-second timer, and we will see if the behavior occurred for the entire 5 seconds now. Did I write in my book for the entire 5 seconds? Yes, I did. And that is what whole interval measures. The difference between whole interval and partial interval is whole interval measures if the behavior occurred for the entire time of the interval, and partial interval measures if the behavior occurred at any point during the time sample. The last discontinuous measurement is momentary time sampling. Momentary time sampling is when the behavior occurs directly at the time that you are collecting data. For example, if I set a timer for 5 seconds, at the end of that 5 seconds, I want to see if I am writing in my notebook or not. If I am writing in my notebook, then I'll write a check. If I am not writing in my notebook, then the behavior did not occur. I'm only collecting data once the 5 seconds is up. If the behavior occurred during the 5 seconds, it does not count because I'm only collecting data if the behavior occurred after the 5 seconds, exactly when I'm collecting data. Now I will set a timer for 5 seconds. The behavior we are observing is if I am writing in my book at the end of the 5 seconds. This is discontinuous measurement momentary time sampling example. Was I writing in my book at the end of the 5 seconds? Yes, I was. Which is exactly when I was collecting the data. So yeah, thank you guys for watching this video. This was all things ABA measurements. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to this video for more videos. And also, if you like this shirt, please don't forget to hit up Habits 365 and use code PHILANDJAZZ for 15% off your total. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.